Big day at 49ers training camp. Brock Purdy threw another perfect bomb. This time it was to Demarcus Robinson, and the 49ers hit hard out on that field today. That was after they made a few moves, including one for a new quarterback. This is Carter Bradley, who's actually the son of 49ers assistant head coach Gus Bradley. Apparently, Carter impressed the 49ers so much in a workout on Wednesday that they had to sign him. And this guy right here, number 7, that's Andy Isabella. He also took part in that workout. Veteran receiver has joined the 49ers. They need some more speed in the room. That is Mykel Williams. Back out at practice today. Mykel, that was a minor ankle injury, confirmed. Good news for the 49ers. We'll talk a little bit more about Mykel and some high praise from Kyle Shanahan a little bit later. That's a look at Ben Bartch, who was activated from the non-football injury list today. Bartch had hurt his quad squatting away from the team facility late in the offseason. He plugged right into that first team left guard spot. Here you've got a look at the receiver room. That's Ricky Pearsall, nearest you. Was back at practice. The only reason he missed practice the other day is because Ricky is on a schedule to make sure that he stays fresh for the 49ers, coming off the hamstring injury that he suffered right before OTAs. Back to the quarterbacks. That is Ricky Pearsall making the catch on the near side. Now we can look at Alfred Collins. Did the video about him last night. As you can see, there's just a lot of mass here to control. 6'5", 332 pounds. As soon as Collins starts to corral that at an NFL level, which I don't think will take long, he's a very good athlete, I think that all news will be trending in a positive direction for Alfred Collins. As Nick Bosa said, Alfred has immense talent. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of everything that happened at this practice. I mentioned the series of moves that the 49ers made just before they took the field. I know we've already done a video on a couple of them, but they also added Marquez Callaway, veteran wide receiver who had nearly 50 catches for the Saints a couple years ago. Callaway actually was in the video, very briefly, that I showed earlier. He was standing next to Andy Isabella, the other receiver addition that the 49ers made. We also got to see Amir Abdullah, the new running back, whom the 49ers added. Talked about him this morning. Sebastian Gutierrez, Malik Knowles, both cut by the 49ers to make room for these latest additions. San Francisco now at 90 men on the roster. And you know who else they released? Those are waivs, Sebastian Gutierrez and Malik Knowles. They have to pass through waivers. The veteran Equanimous St. Brown has also been cut, but that is a release. He's a vested veteran, so he does not have to pass through waivers. All right, so Brock Purdy, deep pass. Demarcus Robinson, this is something to talk about because it's becoming a regular occurrence. Brock Purdy has been delivering with a lot of accuracy downfield. I have to put this into context because back in 2023, when he had that massive season, Brock finished with a 59% completion percentage on throws of over 20 yards, was number 2 in the whole NFL. He wasn't completely healthy last year, and the 49ers definitely were not healthy around Brock Purdy, and he dropped just down to number 8 in the NFL in deep pass completion percentage. I think Kyle Shanahan put it best after practice today. Whenever there's a deep opportunity, Brock Purdy usually hits it. He's really, really good at those throws, and we saw it with the one to Jordan Watkins, and we saw it to Demarcus Robinson deep today. 49ers still awaiting news from the NFL regarding whether or not Demarcus Robinson's going to be suspended for the first couple games of the season. So there's a lot of upheaval in that receiver room. I do have to say that Shanahan did not have an update or a timetable to give us on Jauan Jennings, who apparently has hurt the same calf that kept him out of the end of OTAs and minicamp. So the 49ers have been signing receivers, it seems, on an almost daily basis here throughout the course of this training camp. And if there is currently no public timetable on Jennings' return, you can understand why they brought in 2 with Callaway and with Andy Isabella today. But the good news is that Ricky Pearsall is back at it, playing well at practice. He had a nice grab. Mac Jones threw a little bit behind Ricky Pearsall today on a crosser, and Ricky just plucked the ball out of the air. Impressive play. I mean, he's a little bit stronger than he was last year. He was talking about some of the work that he's been able to put in this offseason. Remember that Ricky was, when he came back from the gunshot, that was essentially his training camp. He explained it today, like week 7, week 8, he's just developing the type of rapport with Brock Purdy and working on the type of stuff that a rookie does in his training camp. And then we all know how it finished. Final 2 games of the season, 14 catches, 210 yards. So arrow up for Ricky Pearsall. Other injury news before we get into the play-by-play of what happened at practice. Jordan James is day-to-day with an knee issue. They're going to continue evaluating him. Running back doesn't sound all too serious, but they did need another body in that room, and that's where the 32-year-old Amir Abdullah comes into play for the 49ers. Deommodore Lenoir, meanwhile, is going to miss this block of practices with a hip issue. So Demo should be back next week, and a week from today, the Denver Broncos are going to be in this building to conduct a joint practice session with the 49ers. All right, we can start with the one-on-ones. Today, I focused on the receivers against the cornerbacks. So a couple practices ago, it was all about the O-line against the D-line. That was a lot of fun with CJ West tossing people around like a rag doll. And then 2 practices ago, I went to see the tight ends and the running backs face the safeties and the linebackers. And today, I got to see the ultimate passing and receiving exhibition. Isaiah Neyor, here's what I have to say about him. He's going to have to show more than just that catch in practice 2, the deep catch, the one against triple coverage. Today, it looked like he got a little open against Derek Canteen, who's a fellow rookie defensive back in the one-on-ones, and Mac Jones put a beautiful ball on him deep, and Isaiah Neyor, it looked like he had it, but Derek Canteen was able to get his arm in there and knock it away. When you're 6'4", 220 like Isaiah Neyor, and we're talking about the consistency he needs to build, that's one that you have to haul in. You can't let a smaller defensive back knock a ball like that away. You can't let him out-muscle you for that football. So we'll see with Isaiah Neyor, but he was the victim of 2 pass breakups today, both by rookies. One from Derek Canteen, the other from Jacob Robinson, who on a shorter route was able to knock the ball away from Isaiah Neyor. So, just keep that in mind. A lot of people are going to be looking at one highlight, and then they'll be like, oh, why isn't this guy a lock to make the 53-man roster? And I'll tell you, it's going to be about the shorter pass consistency and just consistency in general. That has to absolutely be part of the equation if the 49ers are going to carry somebody on the 53-man roster, or maybe even on the practice squad. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. Good battle today in one-on-ones between Russell Gage, the veteran, and Upton Stout, the rookie. Kyle Shanahan said today, I don't want to crown Upton Stout just yet, but he's really, really been impressing us. And I think that Russell Gage is as well. Actually, in the one-on-ones, it was Gage beating Upton Stout twice. But it's really tough in the one-on-ones for DBs to win. You almost expect the receivers to win in single coverage, and if they don't, then it's a plus play for the DBs. I will say that Trey Brown today, haven't mentioned him all too much. He's the former corner of the Seattle Seahawks, free agent signee of the 49ers. He was all over Jordan Watkins, the rookie, deep. I thought it was really good coverage in those one-on-ones. It's a wide open battle in that cornerback room, and a lot of opportunity now with Deommodore Lenoir missing this block of practices with that hip injury. And we can't forget Trey Brown's name. Really good press coverage corner, right? In 2023, back when he was healthy for essentially the full season, his press coverage in Seattle was really good, and that's a big reason why the 49ers have signed Trey Brown. Moving to team drills. This is where we saw Brock Purdy throw that deep pass to Demarcus Robinson. We also saw Patrick Taylor Jr. make a couple catches, including one really nice one on a play where it might have been a sack. We never know what's a sack and what isn't because you can't touch the quarterback. But Purdy got the outlet throw off in practice terms, and it kind of just arced one toward the flat to get over the linebacker. And it's not easy with a helmet on. The helmet's not as big as the one behind me, but it's still not easy with a helmet on. Patrick Taylor Jr. had to look up over his shoulder, and he made the catch near the sideline. The reason I emphasize this is because I had some criticism for Patrick Taylor Jr. earlier, and I know I did last year. It seemed like he struggled a little bit out of the backfield. I think he's improving. I think his rapport with Purdy and the 49ers QBs is getting better. And that's, of course, what you like to see over the course of camp. It is July 31st. The dog days of August start tomorrow. And we've had enough of these practices now at this point to where you definitely would like to see some tangible progress. Big run for Isaac Guerrero in the move the ball period. And then a lot of you have been wanting a Nick Martin update. Forced fumble today on Junior Bergen. So Junior Bergen seemed to be getting a lot of targets. It's the 7th round pick out of Montana. And they hit him. This was second, third team stuff. It wasn't 1-to-1s running around, but Junior Bergen made a catch in the seam, started running upfield. I know they don't tackle to the ground, but you could still thud guys up, and you could still try to punch the ball out. And Nick Martin, 49ers rookie linebacker out of Oklahoma State, punched the ball out from Junior Bergen. You don't see many forced fumbles in these practices. You're probably gonna have to wait till tackling is live in preseason games, but Martin made his first splash play of training camp. Now, I talked about Jordan Watkins getting manned up by Trey Brown a little bit earlier. We also need to talk about the plays that Jordan Watkins is making in the short game, because we talked about the bomb a practice ago before the off day. I think one of the reasons that Jordan Watkins is impressing the 49ers so much is that he's showing consistency and reliability on some of the more basic routes. And those are always going to be more important than the bombs, right? The bombs, I mean, yes, the 49ers can stretch the field more. They need more speed. Shanahan even said that's a big reason why they brought Andy Isabella in. They said that he ran as fast in that workout on Wednesday as he did when he was torching the 49ers defense back on Thursday Night Football in 2019. So speed for the deep passes is great, but you're going to be attempting those at such a lower rate than the bread and butter of your offense, which is the short and intermediate pass game, which requires a lot more timing and precision. And I really do think that Jordan Watkins has established or is establishing some good rapport in that regard with Purdy and company. Jake Tonjes made a nice catch, the tight end, on a deep out pass today. That was a really, really nice throw from Brock Purdy. You kind of have to get it over the zone in those situations, and you could tell when you're standing on the sideline how difficult of a throw it is. Remember that football fields are 53 1/3 yards wide. I think there's a little optical illusion going on. It looks so much longer because it is. It's 120 yards if you include both of the end zones, but there's also real width to a football field. So throwing cross hash, throwing that out pattern, not easy. And I think quarterbacks deserve a little bit more credit for those throws than they get. They definitely are not automatic. That's one of the reasons why quarterbacks get paid the money that they do. Then, of course, there was Ben Bartch, who is the 49ers starting left guard. At least he finished last season as San Francisco's starting left guard. And Ben Bartch had that quad injury. Nick Zakelj actually had been filling in for him at the left guard position. I thought that it was notable that Bartch moved right back into the left guard first team spot today. Shanahan says it's still going to be a competition between Bartch and Nick Zakelj, but if Bartch is there on the first day, I think the 49ers are definitely giving him a leg up based on the 2-game stretch that was very, very impressive last season. Zakelj, by the way, was with the twos now working at right guard. One thing that I found really, really interesting today was that we saw a couple nice creative blitzes from 49ers defenders, and I think that this is Robert Saleh starting to implement some more creativity into what the 49ers are doing on the defensive side of the ball. Chaz Surratt, who's the linebacker, played for the Jets, former quarterback in college for North Carolina. He disrupted a play that with a really well-timed blitz up the middle. We didn't see all too much of this from Robert during his first stint as the 49ers coordinator, but we definitely saw a little bit more of it today because Dee Winters also came on a nice blitz that was effective later in practice. All right, there was a lot. These sessions are long at this time of the year. I think they're probably going to go even longer tomorrow, so I can't wait to be back out on that football field. I do have to say that when we saw, I talked about Braden Willis a lot over the course of the first couple practices, having improved as a receiver. He also did make a nice catch for the 49ers today. A little bit of an outlet pass, but off-schedule attempt is Mac Jones to Braden Willis, and that tight end competition keeps on rolling. All right, we're going to be back out here tomorrow. 49ers have 2 more before another off day. This one was lively, this one was padded. Tomorrow is going to be the marathon session, and then we'll see what they do as the Broncos approach. They come on August 7th, a week from now here, joint practice at Levi Stadium. Everybody hit the notification button and subscribe. We'll talk to you guys soon.